What's going on, guys? My name is Bryant, also known as That Journaling Guy, and welcome to another Plan With Me. This is November's Plan With Me for 2023. And like you guys know, this isn't a regular Plan With Me. We don't really talk about the kind of journaling stuff that you normally would. This is kind of a time where I use it to catch up with you guys and have a little conversation. So grab your journaling stuff and let's get started. So I don't often do minimal themes. But what does that say about me? First of all, I've had October was a really mentally difficult time. So honestly, I just didn't have the time or the motivation to put a ton of effort into my bullet journal. But I'm the kind of person where I need to feel where my bullet journal looks kind of nice to use it. I don't know if that's an only me thing. I make spreads and themes because they motivate me to use my journal more often. So I didn't really know what to do, and I decided to do kind of like a minimal floral theme. So don't judge me, it's not going to be anything crazy, but really this month kind of sucked. It was difficult. Two things really. Number one, my dad, we had a little bit of a health scare, and I don't know if a lot of you know this, but my dad is on the much older side. He is 86 years old, and he means everything to me. My dad is like the most important person in my life. I look up to him. I love him with my entire being and heart. And so he suffers from high blood pressure, and what ended up happening is we had a little health scare. So I've just been really stressed out, taking him to a lot of medical appointments, and a lot of tests needed to be run. And it was one of those things where it's just scary. It's scary because I don't think anybody's, I think as humans, it's hard for us to come to the idea that, life is so finite. I don't know if we really have the bandwidth to ever really process that. We all know we're gonna die, as morbid as this sounds, but we're never really ready. And so it's really scary when you're in a place where something like this could happen, and it will eventually happen. And I'm not ready for that. But it's a reality of life, and it's something that we have to deal with, and I've had to deal with it plenty this month. So my dad is one of the most interesting people on the planet. Okay, he's Cuban, and he came from Cuba in the 50s, I believe, into the United States. And he's just such a naturally charismatic and such a charming person. And one of the greatest storytellers I've ever met in my entire life. I'd like to attribute any kind of storytelling ability that I have to my father. And for the longest time, I've always asked my mom and my dad, start writing stories, start journaling for me, right? So I can pass this on to my kids, to your grandsons and granddaughters. Give me something that I can pass down. I don't want these stories to die out. I don't want these traditions to die with you guys. And one of those things being I am a first generation American, meaning that a lot of the Colombian and Cuban culture is unfortunately going to disappear with my parents, and I want to preserve that as much as possible. So in the effort of preserving that culture and the tradition and that kind of Latino experience of being a Colombian or a Cuban American, I started a podcast with my dad. And it's really interesting to listen back to it. So far, we've recorded 2-hour-long episodes. I don't know if I'm ever going to release them, but I edited them, and I just find them so fascinating. I think it's so interesting to listen back to, and I know it's something that I'm going to endlessly appreciate 10, 15, 20 years from now, and it's hopefully something that I could pass on, like I said, to my kids, and they could pass it on to their kids. They can learn who their grandfather was. They can learn from his lessons, his stories. He talks about everything from being in the Cuban Revolution to almost being executed for going against Fidel Castro, to escaping to the United States and his journey through that. And it's fascinating. It really is. And having a father who's on the older side, okay, and he is on the much older side. It was funny because you would come back from school, learning something in like history class, and I could just ask my dad, like, "Hey, Dad, where were you when this was happening?" He'd be like, "I was in the restaurant." Like, he was a business owner, so he had a lot of businesses when he came to the United States, and very much, in the culture, in the life, and experiencing all those things. And I thought it was always fascinating to kind of come back and ask him his experience during a lot of those times. But yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm really happy that I came up with that idea to do a podcast with him, because he's a natural. He can talk your ear off. And I really was kind of proud of it. I'm going to do that with my mom too. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that kind of I'm recording it too. Like, I have footage of it. But it's something that I definitely want to do something with. Second, this kind of theme for the month, I'm introducing 2 trackers that I don't normally do in any of my bullet journals. Number 1 is that I'm introducing a gratitude tracker, because I simply think I am just not, and I don't normally believe in these things, okay? Or not that I don't believe in them, I don't really know how to explain it, but mood trackers and gratitude trackers, they just kind of seemed superfluous, like a little unimportant. I never really understood the importance, but then, now I can kind of see the psychological game that can play, okay? I can see how these kind of things can influence your behavior and psychologically make a difference in the way you interact with your world and your experiences. So, I think I need to practice a little bit more gratitude in my life, because how lucky am I to say that my father lived to the age of 86 and hopefully 10 more. He is healthy. Thank God he's very healthy. He, walks every day. He walks the dog. He's outside working on his cars. He's cooking every day. He's always interacting, like he's moving. And I think one of the reasons is that my mom is a little bit younger. They do have like an age gap kind of relationship, and a significant age gap. It's a 20-year age gap. And my mom is 66. My dad is 86. It's a big age gap. And I think one of the reasons he's been able to maintain the insane level of vitality that he displays and mobility and all is that she keeps him young. She has a lot of expectations of him. She's like, we need to keep moving, all right? We need to keep it moving and grooving. Like right now, my mom and dad bought a farmhouse down in Colombia. And the idea is that for the winter seasons, if you don't know, I'm located in Pennsylvania, where we have a pretty harsh winter, usually between December to maybe late February, early March. And the cold gets cold, all right? A lot of freezing temperatures, a lot of snow. And the idea was that they could have a home in a warmer climate. So they'll be there for 6 months, come back to their home for another 6 months, and kind of go on and off. The thing is, it's a lot of work. The field in Spanish is called una finca, ¿verdad? Tener una finca. It's like a farmhouse. But the thing is that they bought a lot of land, and it has 5 houses, and it's just them 2. And unfortunately, with the way that I'm working and stuff, I can't spend as much time or go down to Colombia the way I would like to help them with that. But I'm a little bit happy because it's keeping them working. Like, they are waking up at the butt crack of dawn. Like, my dad just spent a month down in Colombia with my mother, and they're waking up at like 6 a.m. and going to sleep at like 8 p.m. because they're so tired. But it's keeping them going, and I think they're really happy. But I think the worst thing you could do as you get older is like stay still. You cannot stay still. You have to move. You have to stay mentally active. Like, another experience that I have this like tradition. I don't know if you'd call it tradition. Like, I've built up this routine where every Thursday I go and play pool, like billiards, with my dad. He's phenomenal. Okay. And at the nice age of 86, he was still beating my ass. Like, it was 4-3. We played 7 games. I beat him 4. He beat me 3. He's fantastic. He still has the mental acuity, the aim, like the vision to still see these kind of... It's crazy. It blows my mind. So I think having something like a gratitude journal where I'm actively practicing how grateful I am to be in the position that I am in life is really going to help. Now, here in this part of my planner, I'm doing a little bit something different. I have like 7 different trackers. It's actually like 4 different trackers, which I'm going to work on now on the same plane, on the same tracker. Okay, on this next page, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be tracking my habits daily. I'm not only going to be tracking my habits, I'm going to be tracking my mood, which was one of those trackers where I was like, I don't really believe in it. I do now. Okay. I think I'm a data-driven person. I'm analytical, and seeing things like mood and if it's progressively good or bad will give me a good idea of whether I'm overall happy in my life. I think we're terrible judges of whether we're happy, all right, in our existence and what we do. So having the numbers and seeing reoccurring patterns, I think, is really important in us visualizing that happiness. One bad day doesn't equal a bad life. And I think we need those kind of reminders in our lives that, some days will be good, some days will be bad. There's ups and downs. But overall, I'm very happy in my life. I think I'm in the best mental health state I've ever been. And I think I just need a little bit of visual proof to keep that going. But I'm tracking my productivity, I'm tracking my sleep, and I'm tracking my mood. I have been tracking my sleep for about 1,500 days. Sleep is really important to me. I know how important it is for my mental health. I know how important it is for my health in general. I know how important it is going to be in the future for things like Alzheimer's and dementia. Now, the productivity thing, I usually keep that in my health journal, and I do it from a scale of 1 to 5, and 1 to 5 being -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 2 being the most productive day, 0 being kind of neutral, and -2 being the worst. So I kind of just adapted that from a scale of 1 to 10 because I'm going to use that as my sleep, my mood, and my productivity. And that kind of comes, my toxic relationship with productivity, I need to feel and maybe this is more of a Western thing, but I have these standards of what I feel makes me productive. And ideally, obviously productivity is going to look different for everybody, but I do feel like I have a toxic relationship with productivity where if I'm not doing something creative, something intellectual in my day, I feel like it's not as productive as it should be. And I think I've talked about this before. I look down on people, and I'm working on it. Okay. I'm working on it. Sometimes I look down on people when I feel like they're not being productive, but time spent doing something you love, it shouldn't be counted against you. I don't know, I've told this story before. I've been surrounded with people who kind of just do nothing with their day. And what does that say about me, right? But they're doing stuff that they love, which would be watching shows that they enjoy. And I would be like, why are you wasting your time? Why are you not doing something more productive with your time? You're wasting time. There's so much to do in life. Come on. Why are you wasting it day in and day out? So alongside that kind of productivity mentality, I decided to do a new spread. Okay. And this kind of comes from Ali Abdaal, where he has this thing called My Ideal Ordinary Week. And the idea is to be more intentional with your time, right? So you're going to imagine, for me, I decided to do my ideal day. And what you're going to do is you're going to imagine your ideal day with all the activities that you want to make time for. So work, exercise, time with family, hobbies. You're going to create a timeline, and you're going to block out what you want to do in the time. Okay. And the way I've set this up is I want to have a morning routine. I want to start developing morning pages, morning reflections. I want to learn to meditate so bad. You don't understand how hard that is, okay? I want to learn to do it, but meditating is one of the most difficult things I could think of. doing. I can't just silence my brain. I know it takes practice. I can't make it shut up. Number 2, going to the gym, coming back, having a lunch, doing chores. Then a big chunk of my day is intellectual and creative work, whether it be programming, making some kind of web development app, working on my journals, making a video, scripting, researching, writing my podcast. That's what fulfills me, and I know that if I do something in that vein for the day, I feel productive, I feel good, I feel like I'm doing something with my time. Then towards the end of the night, some kind of socialization and relationships, so hang out with the parents, go on a date night, hang out with my girlfriend. Gaming with the boys, also really important for my mental health, is socializing. And then end the night with some kind of night routine. So again, have my daily kind of journaling at the end of the night, winding down, like reading a book. And that would be my ideal day. If I could do that every day for the rest of my life with a few vacations thrown in there, I would be incredibly and unanimously fulfilled and happy with my day. So visualizing what your ideal day is, I think, is a really strong technique in finding what you're working towards. Have an idea of what you want to fill your time with. And if I retire, when I retire, that's what I'm going to be doing. This YouTube channel is going to be going for a while, hopefully until YouTube is gone. So I will be seeing you guys for years and years, and, don't quote me on all the things that I say now, because hopefully I have evolved 10 years from now and can have a different perspective on things like this. Again, so this is like a super minimal theme for the month, because I was just really low on motivation. I just needed to get my spreads done and over with so I can continue with this month and kind of find that motivation again to get back into my creative work when I'm not worrying. Thank God my dad is in great health now. We are good to go. We are going to keep it moving and grooving. But I really just found myself how do I say this? I really found myself kind of having a little bit of a existential crisis in terms of what I'm spending my time on. And another little experiment, it's a video that's coming at the end of the year. For this past year, I have recorded I've documented every minute of every day that I have spent and what I have spent it on. It's kind of like my trial year. Without any, I'm not looking for patterns. I'm not looking for behavior changes yet. I want to see on a regular year of my adult life, what did I spend my time on? What did I do? And I'm tracking really random stuff, like how many Netflix episodes I watch, how much time I spend gaming. But really, the end goal of it is about protecting my time. Right? Kind of gatekeeping my time and really dedicating it for something that's bringing me fulfillment, that's making me feel happy. Because at the end of the day, this is going to sound so existentially bad. None of this really matters, right? At the end of the day, you have to make sure you're spending time and doing stuff that you love and brings you happiness, because it doesn't matter how much time you spend working. When you're dead, when you're gone, what people are going to remember is how you made them feel, not the extra 10 hours that you spent at your job, staying overtime or etc. You want to be intentional with your happiness and making other people happy as well, as the best of your ability. I know it sounds corny, but I think that's just something we should all focus on overall. So I'm happy with how this spread turned out. I might be doing some more minimal spreads as time goes on, but for the next month, I already have it laid out. I think it's going to be a little bit better, but I liked it. I'm excited for Black Friday stationery shopping, so be on the lookout. I might put out some prices on Threads and on Twitter, but I'm really happy with how this ended. Thank you guys so much. If you got this far, I really appreciate you. Leave a little fountain pen in the comments so I can know that you made it this far. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.